Solo Shuffle has been the best PvP feature Blizzard has put out in a long time. In this video, I will go over some basic tips so that you can climb the Solo Shuffle ladder as a survival hunter. If you need help with your survival hunter PvP build, I made a video guide which you can see here. I will also link it at the end of this video. To start off, some don'ts. Do not blame your teammates. Always see what you could have done differently to survive that extra few seconds or the CC you could have dropped to save your teammates. Learn from every loss. There will be matches where your teammate is obviously below par. Try your best to carry. All you need to focus on is getting more wins than the other players for more rating. Do not let DPS freecast on your healer. Peel early and often. I will go over some games here, but know that we will be focusing on these things. Communication, CC healer off DPS, lots of damage early, and use defensive cooldowns early. To keep track of which ability I am using, you could check the abilities that I use on the right hand side of my damage meter, left of my abilities, below my nameplate, and to the left of it. And these are my first few Solo Shuffle games, so these guys are a little easier than average, but we will go over this one. So what's important before the game starts is know who you're going to be going on. I checked the damage meters of the first game and saw that the lock was doing a ton of damage. So I switched my PvP talents so I could have the Chimeral Sting, that way I have an extra silence. And I make sure to tell my DPS that that's the target. I start off with Serpent Sting to build up the Latin Poison, then throw 2 bombs into an explosive shot, use his Chakram, into Coordinated Assault with a kill shot, and bombs again, and then I go for my as many Mongoose Bites in order to build up the Mongoose Fury. And for that opening rotation, you could check my PvP guide. I do go over that rotation at the very end of that. And here I'm just making pressure. So something that I'm not doing here is using Scatter Shot. Once you use Scatter Shot, after the person is off of Scatter Shot, they have decreased 10% damage. So it's really helpful to be using that in order to get pressure off of the target that they're going after. So definitely be using Scatter Shot. Again, this is one of my first games, so still getting into it. Tar Trap is also an ability that you want to be using. It roots players now if you're using the right talent, and that talent build again is in my PvP guide, and I'll also link it down below. So something that is special with the Evokers is that they have a nullifying cloak or nullifying shroud, I want to say, that makes it so for 30 seconds or for 3 CCs they are unable to be CC'd. So at the beginning of games now, what I do is instead I CC the off DPS, and then after the 30-second mark or after nullifying shroud is off, I use the CC back onto the Evoker. And on this one, you'll see that instead of going, my usual strategy here is to go for the lowest health warrior. But in this one is a little special because I just do a little damage onto this paladin, and I see that he's not healing himself. So I put extra pressure, and he actually bubbles early. And with that bubble, it just gives you the kill target now. So instead of going for a DPS, you want to go straight and pressure that healer, because he has no more defensive cooldowns, and you could just run him down. Here you could also see that I'm not using Scatter Shot, which is pretty bad. Luckily these guys are not the best. And you see that Tar Trap roots, and yeah, just running that guy down after he used his bubble. And this is the last game I played. This is around 1800 MMR. So I set up the Serpent Sting to build up the poisons, and I call that Monk is the person that we're going to go for. I like Monk because you usually could kill them through their karma. Here you see I do the setup on the healer, which is stun into a freezing trap. The Monk runs away, so I'm pressuring the paladin here. I'm staying my distance so they're not cleaving us both down. I try to scatter the warrior, but he was in his whirlwind, so whoops. this is where I get a lot of pressure. Freeze the paladin. The monk runs away. Kick that, heal, chase him down, and finish that. And something I was saying in the beginning is don't blame your teammates. There's sometimes you're going to have games where your teammates won't be using their cooldowns correctly. They won't be kiting sufficiently. I know a ton of the games that I lose, I actually don't even press turtle. I know that sounds really bad, but you know, there's just a ton of bursts sometimes in this game, and you just drop from like 50%. This is one of those games. But you want to do is see what you could have done differently. So here the monk is getting trained, and instead of scattering, I am trying to pressure the shaman, which the monk just dies instantly. And I could have saved him at least for extra seconds for our healer to probably catch up on the healing. But you move on to those and know who the kill target is now. So now for the rest of the games, we know that the monk is the weakest in the lobby. So you just pack onto him. And here you can see that I'm CCing the shaman with intimidation because the evoker has that nullifying shroud. So I do my setup, early setup on the shaman, which is the stun into a freezing trap. And then just as much pressure as possible on that monk. And if I see that the monk is not dying through karma, I do switch off DPS just to make sure that our guy isn't dying. And here with that freezing trap, it's an easy kill setup. Alright, here with the shaman, shaman has incredible burst, as you will see here. Just pressuring everything. Kiting away from the monk. And the healer, that tar trap is clutch. Definitely be using that a bunch. And the shaman just destroys that guy in a second. So, pretty easy around there. And here I give a intimidation on the healer. And I can't follow up because of the shaman ability. So I just keep my distance from the shaman. And go in here when the monk is low. Just to add extra pressure on that healer. And here I was a little too far, so I have to pop a turtle. And don't be afraid to use that turtle. Just make sure that you're not overlapping like multiple defenses at once. You see I still have survival of the fittest. And here just keep on pressuring. I use it here because I thought that they were going to keep on going. Definitely a waste there. And I get a little punished here. I see that and I scatter the shaman just to get that pressure off. And I see that I have my intimidation. So I go for the intimidation. He trinkets that one. And I should have a freezing trap soon. I think I missed this one. Yeah. Not good. But you keep going. So you want to keep scattering that shaman, which is the off DPS, as much as possible. Make sure that you're not getting chunked altogether. It's just extra pressure for your healer that you do not need to be doing. I use that freezing trap on the shaman just to stop the pressure from them. I don't think it was the best use, but we survive. And here the monk just runs away from his own healers, so gives us an easy win. And I'll show this last round also, which is a bunch of casters. So on this one, we're going Shadow. So make sure you have Chimeral Shot whenever you're going for Shadow Priest or any caster that is. So for opening, I start up with that Serpent Sting. I use Strength Shot to get rid of the shield or a buff that he's on. Try to keep my distance. But he is together with his healer, so makes it hard to land that freezing trap. Here I sacrifice on the monk, making sure that he stays alive. Scatter off DPS, Chimeral Sting, and just add the pressure here. You want to be using Kill Shot as much as possible. I see that I have it up for way too long. It's our highest damage ability, so definitely want that. Get the CC off. He switched health pools. Try to line him a little bit and making sure my healer's still on me. And go back on the kill target, which is that Shadow Priest. He used Dispersion, so you go for the other healer just to add more pressure. Making sure that you're using Disengage to get those roots off, scattering off DPS, and finishing the guy with those mongoose bites. And for making it this far, I want to thank you guys by linking all my macros in my Discord. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. These macros are very helpful. For example, when you could grapple towards a healer, instantly rooting them and gives you a very easy freezing trap setup. Please subscribe if you found any of that helpful. And if you need help with your Survival Hunter PvP talent, gear, rotation, check out this video. Good luck in Season 1.